Hey everybody, James Duggan here at the Square Enix booth at Gamescom. More specifically, outside of the Marvel's Avengers gameplay area, behind those closed doors, folks are playing the game. Super exciting. We learned some new details about Marvel's Avengers in terms of what the game is mechanically, as well as what you'll be doing in it. And I figured, why not talk about that while we check out the 5 playable characters at launch, starting with Captain America. Now, Cap's a good one to start out with because he's really indicative of what we initially saw at the Square Enix conference at E3 2019. There was kind of a linear gameplay intro that was just a tutorial. We saw Cap perish, but you can play as Captain America in the game, so do the math on that, spoilers-wise. And Cap, the first thing you'll notice about this outfit is he looks kind of like a SWAT trooper, which is very dissimilar to what we've seen from the MCU. These characters are different versions than they are in the MCU, both aesthetically and narratively. They have their own story, they have their own cosmetics, they have their own unique gameplay style. And in terms of what's happening narratively with the game, Bruce Banner, for example, the Hulk, after the tutorial and after the Avengers kind of dissolved following the death of Captain America, they're all in ruins, somewhat like Avengers Endgame. Bruce is stuck in Hulk mode. He's absolutely cannot get back to baseline, kind of like he was in Thor Ragnarok. And what's interesting about this is you'll play through these single-player hero missions that have unique mechanical challenges tailored to each of the unique play styles of the character. So you have those single-player missions, hero missions, and then you also have Warzone missions, which are 4-player, cooperative, more multiplayer missions. And during this, Marvel's Avengers is much more of kind of an action RPG, somewhat of a looter shooter. Speaking of gear and loot and things like that, we have Iron Man here, made from molded plastic. You can pick this up on eBay for $30. But speaking about gear, we have common gear, we have rare gear, we have legendary and beyond legendary gear, so much more of an RPG than we were initially led to believe. You will be leveling up, you will be speccing out your character, you will be getting gear, maybe you'll get some interesting repulsors or a different Iron Man suit. Cosmetics and mechanics are somewhat detached. You'll be able to purchase unique costumes with real money. Microtransactions confirmed in a game in 2019, blowing everybody's mind. Oh my goodness. But of course, you will also be able to get these cosmetics via in-game means as well, potentially through those Warzone missions, potentially through endgame stuff. Speaking about specs, I think a really good character to talk about specializations, gameplay is Thor. So Thor is probably the strongest mechanically that we have seen from the gameplay that we did get to see. His hammer Mjolnir is very analogous to Kratos' axe, and that's no mistake. The combat designer, one of the combat designers from God of War, is working on Marvel's The Avengers. So when we see, Thor being able to throw his hammer, pin somebody, call it back, kind of beat the crap out of people, it looks really good. It looks really well defined. I think they're still trying to figure out mechanically what other characters can do, but Thor works. And you can actually spec Thor to be a tank. You can spec Thor to be more of a CC-oriented character. He could probably be like a lightning DPS character. So when you think about a power fantasy, Thor, I think, is a really good character that comes to mind, but Black Widow is somebody who's a little bit more understated. How she's going to fit in with these other larger-than-life superheroes is going to be really interesting to see. Narratively, Marvel's Avengers will see the Avengers fighting AIM, who is a long-running antagonist faction in the Marvel Universe. She's not the only character that we've seen who's, somewhat understated. I think Ant-Man is a good example of a character we saw out of costume, maybe as a DLC character, or maybe be available at launch. Obviously, they'll be adding more characters as the game goes on, and you can look forward to playing Marvel's The Avengers on May 15th of 2020. So not a lot of time for the folks at Square Enix creating Marvel's Avengers to really refine what the game is, whether it's an ARPG or more of a narrative, Uncharted deal. They got to figure it out, and they got to figure it out quick. But for all of the latest up-to-date info on Marvel's The Avengers, be sure to check out IGN. Lucy O'Brien wrote up a great piece about what we know already. And for all things Gamescom, you're already in the right place at IGN.